Hello everyone and welcome to today's SQL interview preparation session brought to you by Data Science with Harivansh. In this presentation, we are going to cover two very practical and commonly asked SQL interview questions. The first question challenges you to write a query that retrieves all customer names starting with a specific letter, testing your knowledge of the like operator and wildcard characters in SQL. The second question asks you to describe the structure of a database table, testing your familiarity with the describe command and the information schema in both MySQL and PostgreSQL. These are foundational SQL concepts that every data analyst and database developer must know confidently. So let's get into it. SQL solution using like. Let's start with the first question. Write a query to retrieve all customer names that start with the letter A. The solution to this problem uses the like operator in SQL, which is specifically designed for pattern matching. That is, finding values in a column that follow a particular pattern rather than matching an exact value. The query we write is select customer name from customers where customer name like A percentage. Let's break this down completely so the logic is crystal clear. The select customer name part tells SQL that we only want to retrieve the customer name column from the results. We are not interested in any other columns from the table for this query. The from customers part specifies the table we are querying, in this case the customers table, which contains the customer records we want to search through. Now come the most important part, the where customer name like a percentage clause. The like operator is what enables pattern based searching in SQL. Instead of checking for an exact match like a regular equal to operator would, like allows you to define a pattern using special characters called wildcards. In SQL, there are two main wildcard characters, the percentage sign and the underscore. The percent sign represents 0 or more characters of any kind, while the underscore represents exactly one character. In our pattern A percentage, the letter A is a fixed character. It must appear at the beginning of the name. The percentage wildcard that follows it means any sequence of characters can follow after the A, whether it's one character, 10 characters, or even 0 characters. So, this pattern will match any customer name that begins with the capital letter A, names like Alice, Amit, Andrew, Ananya, Aaron, and so on. Any name that does not start with A will be excluded from the results. It is worth noting that the like operator is case sensitive or case insensitive depending on the database system you are using. In MySQL, like is case insensitive by default, so A percentage, capital A percentage and small a percentage would return the same results. In PostgreSQL, like is case sensitive, so if you want to match both uppercase and lowercase, you would need to use I like instead, which is PostgreSQL's case insensitive version of like. The key takeaway from this slide is this: the like operator combined with the percentage wildcard is your most powerful tool in SQL for searching columns based on patterns. Use a percentage to find values that start with A. Use percent %a to find values that ends with A, and use percent %a% to find values that contain the letter A anywhere within them. Mastering wildcards gives you tremendous flexibility in filtering and searching text data in any SQL database. Describe table structure. Excellent. Now let's move on to our second interview question. How do you write code to describe the database and view the columns of a particular table? This is a very practical question that tests whether you know how to explore and understand the structure of a database table, something you will do constantly as a data analyst or database developer whenever you start working with a new dataset or database. The answer differs slightly depending on whether you are using MySQL or PostgreSQL, so let's cover both. Describing table and columns. When you join a new project or start working with an unfamiliar database, one of the first things you need to do is understand the structure of the tables, what columns exist, what data types those columns hold, whether columns allow null values, and which columns are keys. SQL provides specific commands and system tables for exactly this purpose. In MySQL, the simplest and most direct way to view the structure of a table is using the describe command. You simply write a describe table name, replacing table name with the actual name of the table you want to inspect, and MySQL will instantly display a structured summary of the table. This summary includes the name of each column, its data type such as int, varchar, date, and so on. Whether the column allows null values, whether it has a key constraint such as a primary key or foreign key. Its default value if 1 is set, and any extra information like whether a column is set to auto increment. This is an extremely fast and convenient command that gives you a complete picture of the table's schema in one go. MySQL also provides an alternative command for the same purpose, show columns from table name. This command returns essentially the same information as describe but in a slightly different format. Both commands are fully interchangeable. You can use whichever one you prefer or whichever feels more intuitive to you. Describe is shorter and more commonly used in practice, while show columns is more explicitly in its wording. In PostgreSQL, the approach is different because PostgreSQL does not support the describe or show columns command directly. Instead, PostgreSQL uses a powerful system catalog called the information schema, a standardized read-only set of views that contains metadata about all the objects in your database, including tables, columns, data types, constraints, and more. To view the column structure of a specific table in PostgreSQL, you write a select query against the information schema.columns view, select column name, data type from information schema.columns where table name equal to table name. This query retrieves the name and data type of every column in the specified table. You can also add additional column to your select such as is nullable, character maximum length, or column default if you need more detailed metadata about each column. The information schema approach in PostgreSQL is actually more flexible and powerful than MySQL's describe command because it is a full SQL query. You can filter, sort, join, and customize the output in any way you need. It follows the ANSI SQL standard, which means a similar approach works across many other relational database systems like SQL Server and Oracle as well. The key takeaway from this slide is this: knowing how to quickly inspect and understand the structure of a database table is an essential skill for anyone working with SQL. In MySQL, use describe table name or show column from table name for a quick and clean overview. In PostgreSQL query the information schema.columns view for a flexible and standards compliant way to explore your table's metadata. These commands are the very first thing you reach for whenever you encounter a new table in any database environment. Thank you.